finally got a full picture at the all-new third generation model of the Toyota Tundra, and I've got to admit that I'm getting pretty excited about it. I was admittedly skeptical when I saw the first leaked photos and the first officially released photo from Toyota, but it's starting to grow on me, and with the full unveiling that we got last week, I'm starting to realize that it's actually a pretty cool design. Seeing the various trim packages, getting a full look at the interior, learning about some of the new features and capability, and taking a look at the new powertrain options, I think that the new Tundra has a lot of potential. Now, Toyota's released quite a bit of information on the Tundra, but one thing they haven't really addressed so far is fuel efficiency. And the reason for that is that it still needs to be tested by the EPA. Now, obviously, this is a big question mark because that was one of the greatest flaws of the second generation model of the Tundra. What was otherwise a very good-looking truck, very capable, very rugged, very durable, very reliable, and also very powerful, just didn't see very good fuel efficiency. And so there are a lot of people that really want to see better efficiency with this all-new third generation model. This was one of the main reasons that I never bought a second generation Tundra, is I couldn't really stomach the poor fuel economy that we saw in that model. And I'm really excited to see what we get in terms of fuel efficiency on the all-new third generation model. Now, there's definitely some speculation involved in this video in terms of getting us to fuel efficiency numbers for the 2022 Tundra, but I would argue that it is educated speculation. I'm going to walk you through the process before we get to those numbers. Basically, I enjoy working with spreadsheets, and I put together a matrix that takes a number of factors into consideration on existing vehicles and basically works us to what I expect to see for fuel efficiency on the various versions of the Tundra, the 3.5 liter 6-cylinder I-Force, as well as the 3.5 liter 6-cylinder I-Force Max hybrid in both rear-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. Now, an important factor to consider is both of these 3.5 liter 6-cylinder engines are new to the Tundra, along with their corresponding 10-speed automatic transmission, but none of these are new to the Toyota Lexus lineup. On the contrary, they've actually been using these powertrains in the Lexus LS500 and the LS500H for several years now. So we can learn some lessons from that, and there's also some other factors that we're going to take into consideration to get us to the Tundra. Now, our first step is to actually go back several years to the Lexus GX 470, which had a 4.7 liter V8 that was also offered as an option in early years of the second generation model of the Toyota Tundra. Now, not surprisingly, the GX 470 saw slightly better fuel efficiency than what we saw on the Tundra. The GX 470 was later replaced by the GX 460, which had a 4.6 liter V8. Not surprisingly, again, the 4.6 liter V8 sees a slight improvement in fuel efficiency when compared with the 4.7. Now, this 4.6 never made its way to the Tundra, but I want you to imagine for a moment a fictitious second generation Tundra with the 4.6 liter V8. To get to that, we look at the difference in fuel efficiency between the 470 and the Tundra, and we basically factor that over to the GX 460 and a fictitious 4.6 liter Tundra, which would see about 14 miles per gallon in the city and 19 miles per gallon on the highway. Our next step is then to go back to the Lexus LS. We've got the LS 500 and the 500H, which are our current generation of the Lexus LS. The generation that came before that is the LS 460. 460 for 4.6 liter V8. Sound familiar? That's because it's the same 4.6 liter V8 that you get on the GX 460. Now, with taking that into consideration, we can basically take a look at how the LS 460 improves in fuel efficiency going to the 500 and the 500H in both rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, and we apply those same factors to our fictitious Tundra 4.6 going to a 3.5 and a 3.5 Max hybrid. Step number 3, we got to take a look at transmissions. The LS 460 had an 8-speed automatic transmission, whereas the GX 460 had a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, we're essentially already accounting for the jump from the 8-speed automatic to a 10-speed automatic in step number 2, where we look at the efficiency of the LS 460 going to the 500, but we haven't accounted for going from a 6-speed automatic to an 8-speed automatic. So we've got to apply a factor for that. to do that, I basically took a look at the Tundra when it had a 5-speed automatic and the improvement in efficiency going to a 6-speed automatic, and then also taking a look at some of the domestic brands that have already gone to some of these larger transmissions to see the improvement that we see in overall fuel efficiency. Now, there are a few factors we didn't take into consideration. One of those is weight, because we don't really know what the weight is of the all-new Tundra. There are a number of panels on the vehicle that are aluminum, which may cut down on the weight, but on the flip side of that, we've got a lot more new features on this all-new Tundra. And then, of course, when you take a look at the hybrid, it's got the battery pack, which adds quite a bit more weight as well. So that's basically a factor that I'm ignoring for this conversation. Another factor is aerodynamics. You could definitely assume that the all-new Tundra probably is going to be more aerodynamic. It's probably been tested in the wind tunnel more effectively to basically reduce some of that wind drag. Again, I don't think this is going to be a huge factor compared to some of the other items that we're looking at, and it's pretty hard to quantify as well. The other thing that we're not really taking into consideration specifically on the hybrid model is that if you look at the LS500H, it's got a 1.1 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery, whereas the Tundra with the iForce Max has a 1.87 kilowatt hour metal hydride battery. So the efficiency is going to be different between those two batteries. Obviously, the size of the Tundra battery is larger, so it's going to weigh more, it's going to have more capacity as well, but then the Tundra is also a larger, heavier vehicle. So I'm basically going to make an assumption on this step that the battery pack on the Tundra is going to affect the efficiency on the Tundra in the same level that we see the battery pack affect efficiency on the LS500H. And that brings us to our final question. What are we going to see in terms of fuel efficiency on the all-new 3rd generation model of the Toyota Tundra? Well, starting off with the base engine, our 3.5 liter 6-cylinder twin turbo. This is the iForce engine. On that engine, all-wheel drive models, I expect that we're going to see about 15 miles per gallon in the city and 21 miles per gallon on the highway. In rear-wheel drive configuration, you're going to see a 1 mile per gallon bump to 16 miles per gallon in the city and 22 miles per gallon on the highway. Next, going up to the optional engine, which is our 3.5 liter 6-cylinder twin turbo hybrid iForce Max engine. With that powertrain, in all-wheel drive configuration, I'm expecting that we're going to see about 20 miles per gallon in the city and 23 miles per gallon on the highway. And in rear-wheel drive configuration, I think you're going to see about 22 miles per gallon in the city and 25 miles per gallon on the highway. So in summary, if my predictions are correct, I think we're going to be pretty impressed with these two different powertrains. Again, this is totally speculation, but it is educated speculation. With the base iForce engine, we get 379 horsepower and 489 pound-feet of torque. I'm proposing 15 to 16 miles per gallon in the city and 21 to 22 miles per gallon on the highway. That's a pretty impressive set of numbers for a base powertrain. And of course, it gets even better with the iForce Max. We've got 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. And we see even better fuel efficiency at 20 to 22 miles per gallon in the city and 23 to 25 miles per gallon on the highway. I think I could definitely live with those numbers. Question is, if those numbers are on the mark, which one do you go with? Do you go iForce or do you go iForce Max? I think it's a pretty easy decision myself. I'm definitely in the iForce Max camp. Of course, that's not knowing what the price premium is going to be just yet. It'll be significant, but I think it'll be worth it. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on which powertrain you're going to go with. Also, I'd love to hear what you guys think about my speculation. Do you think it is educated speculation, or do you think I'm just way off the mark? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. To stay up to date on my decision with which 3rd generation Tundra to purchase, be sure to subscribe. And in the meantime, thanks for watching.